Joining me now with more in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is the Interior Secretary of America, Doug Burgum. Secretary, great to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to be with you, Maria.
And I want to kick it off right there because I know that you know better than anybody the need for energy in this country and the competition with communist China. But we have this news story this week, and it follows a list of others undermining by Communist China of America, that these Chinese nationals were charged with conspiracy and smuggling a dangerous biological pathogen into America for their work at the University of Michigan laboratory. This comes on top of COVID and the COVID cover-up, the fentanyl flowing in. How are we supposed to have a fair and practical conversation with the Chinese Communist Party about a trade deal when they are undermining us, trying to kill Americans at every turn?
Well, it's a great point, Maria, because, again, on the fentanyl, we just haven't had a mass invasion of our country at the southern border. We're taking mass casualties. At a minimum, we've lost over 100,000 people a year during the Biden administration to fentanyl. And so this is a broad conversation we have to have with China. The agroterrorism you're talking about, this is basically Wuhan COVID, meets agriculture. And it shouldn't be new. Those of us from the Midwest know that, Chinese posing as graduate students have done, in Iowa 10 years ago, they were literally stealing seeds out of fields. So this isn't a new thing, but they've certainly stepped it up in the last 4 years. And kudos to Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and others for being on top of this. But we have to reverse again the 4 years of just trusting like that every grad student here from China isn't completely aligned with the Chinese Communist Party. They wouldn't get to come here if they weren't.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that this is any kind of a one-off or something, if the CCP says, oh, we have nothing to do with this and we're unaware of anybody bringing in any pathogen into America, because we've got these details of a conversation that was transcribed between this Chinese couple. And Li says, teacher Lang's seeds must be placed well. Jean answers and says, well, where to put it? I only have one pair of shoes. The insole cannot be pulled off. Lee says, did you bring just one pair of shoes? John says, 3 pairs. Wear 1 pair. I mean, the specifics of the teacher Lang seeds being given to this couple. Lee says, where did the seeds get put? In the tube? Jean says, I put them in my Martin boots in a small bag, the Ziploc bag, very small. Lee says, that's good. Just put them in your shoes. Jean says, I stuffed them in the shoes. So, I mean, this kind of attempt to bring this pathogen into America, is this a subject you believe that will come up tomorrow morning when our trade delegation meets with the Chinese officials in London?
Well, I'm certain it will, and I think that the central focus of these discussions has to be on something that we've been talking about for a couple of years, which is that China has, going back almost 3 decades, had a very strategic long-term strategy of cornering the market for critical and rare earth minerals. And in the process of doing it, it's not just a U.S.-China problem, it's China versus the world. They're controlling over 85% of the processing. So whether it's semiconductors, jet fighters, or anything with an electric motor in it, they can really hold the entire global economy hostage now, and it's one of the reasons why the Trump administration, having a pro-energy, get back in the energy business, not just drill, baby, drill, but we got to mine, baby, mine. We got to map, baby, map. We've got to start developing. The Biden administration was shutting down mining in this country, and we have to have our own secure supply chain of these critical minerals, and that's something that President Trump's agenda is working on very hard, and we've got examples of that, like with the Coliseum mine being approved. We're getting back in the game. And we have to get back in the game in a serious way around critical minerals.
Understood. Now, you are just back from a trip to Alaska where you saw the capacity potential up close and personal. Assess for us the demand situation in America today, because the need for electricity and energy continues to spike with all of our innovations from AI to the Golden Dome and military, right? Tell us where we are on that.
Well, the demand is going to continue to increase, Maria, because a kilowatt of electricity has never been more valuable than it is today, because for the first time in human history, you can take electricity, and in an AI data center, you can convert electricity into intelligence. This is different than in the past. These aren't a traditional data center where you'd be like, oh, I'm processing a healthcare claim or a shopping order. This is literally manufacturing intelligence, and we're in a race against China. China has just opened up their electrical production. They built 94 gigawatts of coal last year. 1 gigawatt would power Denver. That's more gigawatts of coal that they're producing in 1 year, a new addition, than what it takes to run all of New York and California, those two states. They've got 30 nuclear plants going. They're spending hundreds of billions on hydro. And here in the U.S., we were subsidizing intermittent forms of electricity and then shutting down all of our baseload. And of course, China loved that. Russia loved that. All of our adversaries loved the fact that we were destroying and heading our electricity grid and going towards poverty. Germany did it. Britain's done it. I mean, devastation of these countries that follow that path. But President Trump, smart enough to say, we've got to get back in the game of having a tremendous amount of electricity here to be able to compete and win in the arms race, because this is the new battle for global supremacy is going to be around AI, and the U.S. can only win it if we've got enough electricity. Alaska presents a huge opportunity because of the enormous amounts of LNG in Alaska, and the Biden administration did everything they could to shut down Alaska. 70 separate Biden executive orders to shut down Alaska energy production. That's more. They sanctioned Alaska more than they did Iran in the last administration. President Trump has signed an executive order unleashing Alaska's extraordinary potential. And within that, a whole set of things that we're pursuing. I was up there with Secretary Chris Wright, Lee Zeldin. We were on the North Slope. Unbelievable energy production opportunities for us. In America, of course, we do it cleaner, safer, smarter. We can do it without touching, 1 acre of a national park. Alaska is so vast, Maria. It is the size of California, Montana, Texas, and New Mexico combined. Goodness. It is just massive, and the opportunity is unbelievable.
Secretary, I want to keep this conversation going for a moment because Chris Wright, the Energy Secretary, told me just last week that it's all hands on deck in terms of the kind of energy you're talking about, including nuclear, which has been uninvestable recently, but is a completely new opportunity for growth. So stay with us, Secretary. We'll take a quick break and then come right back with that. I'm talking with Secretary Doug Burgum, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, and I am back with Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. Secretary, before we went to the break, I mentioned nuclear energy. I know the president signed 4 executive orders on using nuclear energy. Is this a new priority for this administration?
Well, it is a huge priority because nuclear is a part of the future. This is fun that this industry, after 40 years of stagnation, President Trump's executive orders are opening it up. Innovation is going to rule as opposed to regulation. We've overregulated and killed that industry, and now capital is flowing, startups, new ideas. What's going to happen with small modular nuclears is going to be fantastic for our Department of Defense. I mean, we could have one of these at every one of our bases around the world, and it is a great long-term solution. But in the near term, we need more power. In the near term, a lot of that's going to have to come from LNG.
And of course, this is also in the big, beautiful bill where the president is allocating more money toward energy and capacity in America right now.
Well, absolutely. And the big, beautiful bill, I mean, what's not to love about this thing? I mean, lower taxes and now permanent lower taxes, much lower regulation across the board. It's pro-energy, it's pro-seniors, it's pro-farmers, it's pro-border security, and it also cuts a bunch of spending. I mean, this thing is fantastic. This is promises made, promises delivered by President Trump.
Secretary, it's good to have you this morning. Thank you, sir. Doug Burgum joining us.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.